Starting a sex ed talk can feel daunting for any parent, whether your child's neurodivergent or neurotypical. I'm a nurse, sex educator, and autistic mum of two, and I promise, even with my background, I've had those awkward moments too. But what if I told you that saying something imperfect is actually better than saying nothing at all? Here's how to have those first conversations with confidence and calm, even if you're terrified of getting it wrong. Because once you realize that imperfection is part of the process, everything starts to feel easier. Every parent feels like they might mess up when talking about sex ed. That pit in your stomach, totally normal. I still remember the first time my daughter asked, Mum, how do babies get into your tummy? And I froze. My brain went completely blank. And that's saying something because I was working as a sex therapist at the time. So I was talking to people about what they were doing in the bedroom for a living. But that moment, it taught me something really powerful. Kids don't need a perfect answer. They just need a safe person who tries. That fear you're feeling doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you care. And the right thing isn't about perfection. It's about connection, honesty, and showing up even when it's awkward. But isn't silence safer sometimes? Not really. What's actually safer is showing your child that they can talk to you about anything. What if I told you that there's no perfect script for these conversations? Would that change how you feel about starting them? Your child doesn't need a rehearsed speech. They just need clear, calm, honest words. Use simple language, not euphemisms. So say penis instead of willy, vulva instead of front bottom. Literal words, they're not harsh, they're actually kind, especially for autistic and ADHD kids who tend to think very literal. And if you're not sure what to say, start with one short sentence. You can always add more later. And it's better to say a little honestly than to say nothing at all. So, how do you actually start without feeling completely overwhelmed? Let's talk about that next. Did you know that your tone matters more than your words? A calm, curious parent helps a child to feel safe to learn. Kids read your body before they hear your words. Once I had this random car ride moment with my son. He saw a deodorant ad on a bus and said, "That's weird. Why do people smell different when they get older?" And just like that, we had a short chat about puberty before we even reached the shops. And that's how most sex ed happens, in tiny, everyday bursts, not big sit down talks. So instead of aiming to get every word right, focus instead on being calm, present, and unshockable. Your calmness tells them you can trust me. But what if you stumble or say something weird halfway through? Let's handle that next. Have you ever frozen mid conversation and thought, I've totally stuffed this up? Happens to all of us. Once I completely over explained how babies were made to my tween. I discovered that Minecraft sheep can reproduce. So I decided to use that as a conversation. And as I was talking, trying to explain reproduction and how babies were made using Minecraft sheep, I was sort of realized that I actually wasn't sure how I was going to explain it. And my child just sort of rolled their eyes and looked at me and walked off. It was quite, wasn't, it was, yeah, I guess it was funny at the time. But later on, I realized I'd screwed it up. So later that night, I said, "Hey, you know how I was talking about Minecraft sheep and how babies are made? Well, can I try again?" And I actually had a book with me that time. And you know what? That second chat went so much better. So look, if you ever feel like you've said it wrong or screwed it up, just revisit it. You can say something like, "I think thinking about what we talked about earlier, and I want to explain that a bit differently." And repairing a conversation, it actually shows your child that mistakes are normal and safe, okay, and they're fixable. And that builds far more trust than perfection ever could. So now that you might be feeling hopefully more equipped, let's talk about the superpower you already have as a parent. Imagine being the parent your child goes to, not Google, not their friends, you. That's what it means to be an askable parent. When you stay calm and curious, even when the topic makes you squirm, You're building lifelong trust. And being askable doesn't mean knowing everything. It means listening without panic and being honest when you don't know something. Because every time you handle a question with calm, your child's learning that home is a safe place for tough conversations. And progress, not perfection, is the goal. Every short chat builds confidence for both of you. So remember, awkwardness just means that you care. And sex ed, it's not permission, it's actually protection, especially for our neurodivergent kids who deserve clear, honest, safe conversations that actually make sense. And if you've already screwed it up, then click the video on the screen and I'll walk you through how to fix it back up.